let's move on now to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
The Browns are not a fun conversation. They don't even
No.
have a projected over/under win total on any sportsbook right now because they don't even know what's happening with Deshaun Watson. They trade for serial sexual assaulter. I don't even want to dig into the implications of that, but they give the guy a shit ton of money, and now he may not even play this year. So we're recording this before whatever punishment he receives has been announced. We don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to play for the Browns this year. We know that in all likelihood Baker Mayfield will not be playing for the Browns this year. So the Browns have a very insecure quarterback situation, and what do you make just big picture of this team? Well, like right now it's so hard to even gauge what they're going to be.
It really is, but the Browns are always the Browns. I mean, there was talks the last couple of years, and Browns are going to make it to the Super Bowl. The Browns are going to be I mean, they have had potential. They've had lines. They always have that guy or two that, seem to have locker room issues. I did see on one site that they were 9.5 as well. The under was minus 115 for these guys. And a lot of the projections and everything are, assuming that Watson does play. But let's assume that Watson does play, but how good is Watson going to be? He was really good. But now he has this mental aspect of going into, places with a kind of a target on his back where they are, the crowd are going to be all over him. The players are going to be all over him. And he hasn't really played, in a little bit. And let's be honest, anytime you see a player that kind of is away from the game for a little bit, step back in and start getting really hit. The practice is one thing. When they get hit, they seem to kind of get banged up a little bit easier. So I don't have a lot of confidence in them. And to be honest, I don't even know who their backup is. Like, if he doesn't play, who is it at this point?
I do not know. I didn't even look it up before because, honestly, if Deshaun Watson does not play this year, the Browns are a complete write-off for me. I'm going to be betting against them every week. They have a frisky defense. They have some talent there, but I think this team is a joke. I think Stefanski's absolutely the most overrated coach in the league. I think that he got a lot of credit for running play actions with Baker Mayfield, but I don't actually think that team's like particularly good. He does a bunch of weird shit on third down. But I just think that the Browns, their defense has been really hyped up the last couple years, and it's been more like, I don't know, there's a lot of talent on that roster, but they haven't been a very cohesive defensive unit that I'm really afraid of. Like, there's no way you can tell me that even now with the talent they brought in that they're a better unit than the Steelers or the Ravens in that division. So if you have the third best defense in the division and you may not have a starting quarterback for the year, if I see the 9.5 number on any book, I am slamming that with everything I have because I don't think there's any way in which Deshaun Watson is really going to be a factor for like the entire season. And I think that if he misses any time, that's enough to really kick them down past that 9.5 or under that 9.5.
Yeah, and I think I just heard breaking news that they'll bring Ryan Fitzpatrick out of retirement to be the Browns quarterback, assuming that Deshaun Watson doesn't play. But if it does happen, you heard it here first on here. But the Browns have one of the best two kind of running back tandems in the league. Not the best, but one of. They're really good. Their line is fairly okay. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a Baker fan, but if he can have success in Cleveland, I think a lot of great quarterbacks can have some success there as well. And you said the defense, they're feisty. I mean, the only time they're really good is when they're ripping helmets off and hitting other quarterbacks with that helmet. So, I'm the same with you. 9.5, if it is there, I'm going to lock in on the under there. Like I said, it was rated. I would have to imagine it's going to be like minus 115, 120 if it does stay there. But what I saw also is make the playoffs was minus 150, which I'm not touching that. Win the division was like plus 170. And this is all assuming, I would have to assume with Vegas that they're saying, hey, Watson's coming in. He's going to be good. And let's, assume this all there. They probably, jumped on the Madden simulation train and was like, hey, they're going to be good. But if I had to make a prediction, I see them as 7-10. And I'm gonna say probably last place in the division.
I am with you. If I can get any sort of action on them not making the playoffs, I'm going to hammer that as well. Because I think even with Watson, I don't see this team as like one that's just going to come in and kick the shit out of teams. I like the Amari Cooper trade for them. I think he really is. We've seen him already take a quarterback who was sort of at one level in Dak and move him up to that next level as a passer almost immediately by his presence there. So for all the flack that he gets as a receiver, he, I think, is actually very competent. But I just don't see it with this team this year. I think also that all the other teams in the division are just really good. So I think that somebody has to be that lame duck, and I think it's the Browns this year.
Yeah, and the Browns, I believe the last 6 of their last 9 games are all on the road. So, I mean, that's going to be a tough thing to end, the year when you're already a little bit beat up. And then, and I think they go to Buffalo, in Cincy, and, in Miami. So, I mean, they don't have an easy game in there. But, 6 of your last 9 games on the road, that's tough.